This lesson is part of Media, Mobiles, and Ministry, which is a curriculum set of over 40 lesson plans covering 4 different topic areas: foundations of media ministry, mobile ministry, social media ministry, and do-it-yourself mobile media creation. You can find more information at www.mobmin.org/train.
This lesson is number 8 in the Do-It-Yourself Mobile Media Creation section, and is the first of 2 lessons that will cover the topic of editing video on a cell phone. This lesson is an overview of the first steps of the video editing process, from the initial plan through to completing the rough edit. Techniques, terms, and potential editing apps will all be covered. In this class, you will learn the relationship between pre-production planning and the final video. You'll learn how to stabilize shaky video. You'll learn how to import, rearrange, and process clips. And finally, you'll learn how to trim clips and cut out unwanted material. Creating a video is a 3-step process. The first step is pre-production, or the planning and preparation time, gathering all that will be needed. The second step of the process is production. This is the time when the content is actually recorded. The production step is often the easiest and shortest step of the process. The third step is post-production, when all the video content, music, text and titles and so on are all combined into one finished product. Editing is part of the post-production step. So what exactly is editing? Editing is simply the time when all the different video clips, images, titles, text, dialogue, voiceover, and music that will be used in the video are all combined, rearranged and adjusted to form a single new work. Often a good edit is one that is well planned. You need to be thinking about your finished video before you start any editing. Pre-production planning is an important guide in the editing process. This planning will include audience. Who is your audience? Who do you want to watch this video? Your message. What are you telling your audience? What is the message you want to leave with them? Action. What do you want the audience to do after watching the video? Distribution channel. How will you get the video to them? Will this be through Facebook, YouTube, Instagram? What is the aspect ratio for the chosen distribution channel? Should the video be horizontal, which is standard like on YouTube? Should it be vertical, like for Instagram? Should it be square, like for Facebook? This is called the aspect ratio. Your desired aspect ratio may also determine which app is best suited for this project. All apps can do the standard 16:9 horizontal landscape aspect. Many apps can do the square 1:1, but only a few apps are currently capable of doing 9:16, which is what is needed for Instagram stories. The aspect ratio you want may determine which app you use for editing, since you need to make sure that the app you are using can produce the shape that you want. Then lastly, you need to consider the length. What is the target length of your video? If it is for social media, different channels require different lengths. YouTube, for example, allows unlimited videos, but the best performing videos are the ones that are relevant, entertaining, and informative. Instagram videos need to be between 3 and 60 seconds each. Facebook can have videos that are up to 2 hours in length, but those which are about 1 minute or so get the most views. Regardless of the maximum length allowed on each channel, typically shorter is always better than longer. Each of these factors will influence the message, pacing, feel, length, and final encoding of the video. After we have thought through our plan for the video and what we're going to do, the next step is where we gather together all the resources and make sure that we have all that we need before we start. There are possibly 3 steps involved in preparing for the edit. Firstly, gather. Gather together all the video clips, still images, photos, audio, music, wording for text, titles, and so on. Next, we transfer. If you have content that is not already on your phone, you need to transfer it so that it will be available during the edit. And then, thirdly, organize. I like to put clips and resources in specific folders. For example, I'll use the file manager on my app to create a project folder. Then inside that project folder, create subfolders for video, audio, still, images, and so on. I then move all the clips into the appropriate folder. I also rename each clip so that I can easily identify it when looking at thumbnails in the phone gallery. Ideally, you'll have used a tripod when the video clips were being recorded. If not, a clip may be too shaky and distracting to the viewer. However, the watchability can be improved by stabilizing the video. Some apps have stabilization as one of the tools built into the app. But if you're using an app that does not have that feature, you can stabilize any video clip using the Stabilize feature in Google Photos. Go ahead and open Google Photos and select the clip that you want to process. Click the Settings button as shown at the bottom middle of the screenshot. Choose Stabilize as shown in the bottom left of the screen. Wait for it to process and then tap Save to save the processed clip. Then later, when you are selecting clips to be used in your project, be sure to select the stabilized version of the clip and not the unprocessed original. Okay, so now we are finally ready to start a new project. The first thing to consider when we start a new project is the aspect ratio. We discussed this a little earlier in this lesson. Some apps require you to set the aspect ratio when you are starting a new project. Others allow you to make the change later in the process. But I think it is best to set the aspect ratio first because it will affect where you place graphics, text, and so on. The aspect ratio describes the relationship between the width and height of an image. It is usually stated with the width first and then the height. Most common aspect ratio today is 16:9, which is horizontal. All apps can do the horizontal landscape aspect ratio. Many apps can do square, 1:1. But only a few apps that are currently available today can do 9:16, which is vertical, like for Instagram stories. Different aspect ratios are better suited to some distribution channels than others. For example, YouTube generally uses horizontal. Instagram is generally vertical, while Facebook can be either horizontal or square. Next, we need to set the desired frame rate. What is frame rate? Video is a series of still images or frames that play back at a set rate. Frame rate is the number of frames or images shown per second. In the US, the standard rate is 30 frames per second. In many other countries around the world, the standard is 25 frames per second. Film is always 24. Project frame rate used to be very important when video was produced for broadcast on TV, since the frame rate of the finished video had to match the TV standard for the country. Now, when most video is shown via the internet, the frame rate is not quite so important. However, what is important is that when editing, especially on a cell phone, you set the project frame rate to match the rate used when the video clip was recorded. If the majority of the video clips were recorded at 30 frames per second, then set the project frame rate to be 30. If 25, use 25, and so on. Using a different frame rate can sometimes lead to issues with the audio not synchronizing with the video correctly. And also the extra processing required by the different frame rates can make the editing process on a phone very slow. In most apps, the frame rate is adjusted in the app settings, but in a few it can only be set during the export of the final video. Now let's talk about assembling or putting the clips on the timeline in the editing app. First, if you have followed the suggestion earlier to organize the clips into project folders, navigate to the folder where your clips are stored. If you did not do this step, then you need to look for the right clips among all the other clips in your gallery. Once you have found your clips, place them on the timeline in the rough order. Most apps will place clips on the timeline in the order that you tap on them in the gallery. So you effectively begin your edit by tapping on the clips in the approximate order that they will be used in the video, which is not always the order in which they are shown in the gallery. You can always rearrange them later if you make a mistake, or add new clips that got missed, but it helps if you can already put them in the approximate order in which they will be used. Arrange the clips in a way that will be interesting to the viewer. Tell a story with the clip order. Depending on the type of video you are creating, you may have different types of shots. Wide, establishing shots can be used first to help the audience understand the location and the context of the video or the scene. Medium shots bring focus to the person speaking. If the video will have just one camera angle, then arrange the various clips in a logical way to best communicate your message to the viewer. After you've put your clips on the timeline in an approximate order, you may notice that some clips may need to be adjusted in some way to make them look as good as possible. If you took video in selfie mode on your phone, you may need to mirror or flip it horizontally so that any words or text seen in the video show correctly and not as though looking through a mirror. Many apps allow this, but not all of them currently do so. Features and capabilities of various apps are regularly changing. Adjust the white balance or color temperature, adjust the color or saturation, adjust the brightness and the contrast of each clip as needed to get the best looking picture you can, with natural looking skin color or skin tones. For most apps, tapping on the clip on the timeline will bring up a settings menu from where you can make adjustments. Most apps work in a similar manner. Tap the tool for the setting you want to adjust, then use the slider to select the best setting for that aspect of the picture. Remember, generally you're wanting the video to look as natural as possible, not too bright or too dark, with the skin tones of the people shown in the video looking as close to what they actually look like as possible. The next step in the process is to do a rough edit of the video. That is to trim, cut out any unwanted parts of clips, and, if necessary, rearrange the clips on the timeline. You'll need to trim the start and end of each clip to remove unwanted material. In most apps, when you tap on a clip, it will display handles or grab points on each end. If you place your finger on those handles, you can trim the clip, that is, move the start or end point to either shorten or lengthen the clip as needed. Trimming just deals with the start and end of each clip, but if you want to remove something from the middle of the clip, you need to cut it. In most apps, when you tap on the clip, you will see a scissor or cut icon. Using this tool, it is possible to cut out and delete unwanted segments of the clip. If you tap on the scissor icon, it will split the selected clip at the location of the playhead. The one clip is now two separate clips on the timeline. Repeat this process again so that there is a cut on either side of the portion you want to remove, and then you can simply delete it. The third step in the rough edit is to rearrange clips if needed. To rearrange the order of the clips on the timeline, tap the clip to highlight it, and then place your finger on the highlighted clip and drag forward or backwards along the timeline until it is in the place where you want it to be. The other clips on the timeline will automatically adjust as needed. Rearrange the clips to make the video interesting to the viewer and also to help tell the story or message of the video in the best possible way. So now it's time to practice what we have discussed. We have an assignment for you to finish at the end of this video. We want you to write down the key points of the plan that you will be making. Who is your target audience? Who do you want to reach with this video? What is the key thought or message that you want to say through this video? What do you want your audience to do after watching this video? What is the intended length for this video? What is the intended delivery channel for this video? Remember, all of those things will determine a lot of the decisions you make during the edit. Even things like the aspect ratio. Does it need to be a horizontal video? Does it need to be a square video? Does it need to be a vertical video? The second step in the assignment is to gather, organize, and stabilize. Gather together the clips that you'll use in the video. Organize all the clips into folders. Make them easy to find on your phone. Check each of them to see if the clip needs to be stabilized using Google Photos Stabilize. Then once you are ready, using an editing app of your choice, create a rough edit of the video. Assemble the clips on the timeline in the right order. Process each clip as needed, adjusting the colour, brightness and contrast to obtain the best picture with accurate skin tones. Accurate skin tones means, do the people look normal and healthy? Or do they have a red, green or blue tint? Does their skin colour look natural? And lastly, trim out any unwanted content from each clip. Make sure all the clips are in the basic rough order that you want them in the final video. When you have finished this assignment, come back and watch Mobile Video Editing 2, which is lesson number 9 in the Do-It-Yourself Mobile Media Creation section of the Media, Mobiles and Ministry curriculum for trainers and learners. Thank you for watching.